linear. So what happens if we do get that tenant and they are able to start renting earlier and our income comes in earlier? This is our priorities for Plan B if we get more money. First, we want to be able to reward our staff for the hard work that they put in and give them their cost of living adjustment. Now, second is paying for the new sprinkler system. I guess I should take a moment to talk about that. The $225,000 that Tom talked about. We looked at, well, this is an improvement to it's an improvement to Torvand Hall and to the preschool building, and so it kind of splits into two parts. So can we take some of our reserves that we have and apply that toward the preschool and then bundle the rest into the capital campaign? Because normally, when we get an unexpected expense like this, we come to the congregation and ask for special gifts. We've already got the capital campaign going. So if you want to support the fire sprinkler, then you can go ahead and give in that way to the capital campaign. Unfortunately, what this means is we're adding expenses to the capital campaign, which leaves less for the later parts of particularly the outdoor segments that we want to do. So when the dust settles on how much all of this is costing and what our income is and so on, then we'll be able to give you a better financial picture on how we want to move ahead on the capital campaign. But for now, what we're looking at is taking $95,000 out of our reserves, which I feel is a prudent amount, to apply toward the preschool and bringing in the water. And then that leaves $130,000 that will fall to the capital campaign that we will be paying for the sprinkler system in Torvand Hall, and also a portion of bringing in as Tom calls it, the big water that is required to run a sprinkler system. Then third, if we did have enough resources, we would hire that community engagement staff position even earlier than 6 months into the year. And of course, finally, any additional income would go toward reducing the income gap. Let's see. So this is then official. This is what goes on the website, Dave Arnold. This is the official statement of the budget. Basically, all those bottom lines that I showed you a moment earlier. Now, I've gone through an awful lot here. I'm wondering, are there any questions? Okay, Minnie. Does anybody have a mic for?
I think I've forgotten. What was the cost of the parsonage? Based on what you're showing was it 1.2 plus?
Right.
1.7?
Right. The purchase price was $1.7 million, and then there were was it $75,000 in renovation that went on, and so we have the cost that came out of the capital campaign, and then the ongoing cost that is the mortgage. So the mortgage was about $500,000. So $500,000 of the parsonage comes from the mortgage, and then the rest comes from the capital campaign.
Yeah, so just a follow-up to that. So based on the fact that we're still carrying $500,000 as a mortgage, would it be wiser to let go some of the renovations for Torvand Hall and cut that mortgage?
Well, we looked at what could our budget support in terms of a mortgage. And what we based it on was the compensation to the pastor. And historically, you give a housing allowance to the pastor. And that's been built into the budget, for well over 50 years. And when you have a parsonage, then that portion, the church doesn't spend it giving it to the pastor. Instead, that was the amount that we saw was available for doing a mortgage. So we are comfortable that basically the mortgage for the parsonage is a good investment that the church can pay off over 25 years, and it's a fairly good interest rate. And so do we want to give up, do we want to so restrict the renovations in Torvend that we don't want to restrict it too much? And so, yes, we do need to do things like sprinklers and so on. But since we already can handle the mortgage payments through our ongoing budget, then we feel that's a good use. Okay. Greg?
Hi, thanks. We have a negative net income. Do you have I guess historically, did we have a negative or positive, and do you have a plan or forecast to make that zero in the future, so we're not constantly, I assume that runs out of out of reserves.
Yes.
So you don't want to continue to run that.
Yes, because the reserves have grown even with a deficit budget. But as I mentioned, due to unanticipated rental income and not hiring the staff position for 6 months, we actually are coming in at a positive. We'll be, if you'd come to the Treasurers Forum, you would have seen the slide that had that detail. But just off the top of my head, it's a very strong positive finish through July the 31st. Of course, there are some expenses that come due once a year. And we'll find out what the final number is as we get through August. So the plan going ahead is we have a valuable property here that is very marketable if you find the right tenant. So we have to match up with the right people. And then once we found now 2 tenants, and they are telling us what the market value is of that, and we have a very good income profile for the next year, for FY26, once we get that long-term agreement signed. So we're at a queasy moment, shall we say, until it's actually signed.
Correct me if my memory is foggy, but so last year we passed a minus 17,000 deficit, or 17,000 deficit. I think for like the last 8 years or so, we've passed deficit budgets, and I don't think we've ever actually closed the year in a deficit. Is that correct, Dave?
Dave Larson, do you recall?
Maybe once.
Yeah.
But historically, we've had a slightly negative budget of about this magnitude, which is a pretty small percentage. People can know all these numbers. And we've come out above most of the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I
said it stayed kind of in that no higher than the mid-20-ish deficit. Yeah.
That's about what it's been.
Yeah. So yes, I do recall there might have been one year when it actually ended up negative, but I've been surprised on many years where we expected a negative, but something happened during the year, and we were able to actually see a positive. Okay. All right. See, I think. Oh, okay, there's Sharon.
And I don't know if I'm the only one. This staff position that's to come up in 6 months, what is that staff position, and who made the decision that we need another staff member?
Pastor Ben, would you like to speak to that?
Good question. So the community engagement person, I don't know what the exact title is going to be, would be as we think about how do we connect to our community, how do we make inroads in terms of inviting people to be part of what we're doing, as well as really being on the ground of what's happening in the community as well. So the anticipation is that's what this person would do. So right now we don't have anyone other than me who's a staff person who's doing anything outside of this campus. So that would be, so if we want to be outward, we have to invest in a person who's going to be laser focused on outward ministry and community work. Does that help? What would the educational level be? Well, we haven't written a job description yet, but I think I don't know that we'd have necessary requirements of like a college degree. That would always be preferred. But it's a part-time position and it's not slotted to be a full-time salary or even benefits. So it's probably more of a something that someone would do on the side and someone who has a passion. So I would be open if there are people from within the congregation who could see this position, if it fit your gifts and your interests, could be something as you do as a job, but also a contribution to the life of Bethel. So that would probably be more the kind of person that I could anticipate coming forward. It wouldn't necessarily have to be a social worker. It's probably more of a community organizer or someone in that ilk.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'll turn it back over to Doreen so we can take a vote.
So you got lots and lots of information and not much time to decide if we're going to do it. But I think if you think about it, by tomorrow you'll have decided we're going to do it. But I need a motion from, the council made a motion to approve the budget for fiscal year 2025 and calling it a transition year. So we need a second from the congregation? Second? Oh, thank you, Elise. Okay, we got a second. Are there any discussion, questions, additional? Did you get your thoughts taken care of? Because it's, you know, it's a big deal. A whole year ahead of us. So take a deep breath. All those in favor, raise your hands. Margaret, are you seeing what I'm seeing? Looks like a pass. Okay. So thank you. And then we also need a second motion. Let me get the clicker here. Okay. And this involves the fire sprinkler system. And some of it, you know, we're trying to massage the different funds and pots that the money is coming from. But we do need to have $95,000 out of the $225,000 that would come actually from the church budget. So other things are covering. Yeah, unencumbered assets, yeah. Yeah, so, but, you know, it should be very doable the way Dave has got it figured out. He's been working on it hard to make it possible. So there was also a motion from the council to fund the fire sprinkler system with $95,000 from Bethel's reserves. Okay, and we need a second from the congregation. Okay, thank you, Eric. Okay, and do we have any additional questions or discussion that we want to pursue? No, looking good? Okay, another deep breath. All those in favor, raise your hands. Okay, it's looking good. Margaret, do you agree? Yeah, I think we're looking good. So good. Thank you very much. Those are things that will make us be viable into the future at Bethel, and that's an important thing that we need to do. So thank you. We're getting almost done. We're at slide number 46, and we're getting close. Okay, 6 clicks and there's nothing happening. Okay. Anyway, that was the council. Maybe I can get back to it. There it is. Okay, council membership. There's all the people that have participated on a pretty good level this year. There's been a lot going on. Lisa and Tony has been a human resources person. Janice has been member at large. Ellen also member at large. Dave has been the fiscal officer. Margaret's been dealing with taking minutes and organizing and recording and keeping them for posterity and what all. And Christine is our president-elect, so she'll be doing this next year. And I'm doing it right now. And then right now we'd like to confirm AJ has been willing to, do you want to come up here? Let everybody see your hands and face? Sure, come on up. He's been willing to serve on the council. He has been on and is willing to continue. The youth representative goes from August to August. So AJ has got a week of his term, but he's willing to do another term. So can we get a motion that AJ's our ongoing continuing youth membership? I'm sorry. Oh, Corinne, okay, good. And a second? Okay, Dave will second. Any discussion or comments or whatever? Yeah, AJ promises he's going to be around for a whole year, so that's an important part of it. So all those in favor, hands up. Yeah. Looking good. Okay, thank you very much again. Good, good, good. Yeah. Okay, we're getting here. Ooh, there we go. And our last bit of business is the Eric Hansen Award. And I don't know if you're familiar with this plaque that hangs in the hallway over there. Lists all of our former candidates, but we have a new candidate for this year coming up. Are you ready? Okay. Yeah. So I have a whole bunch of stuff here that are from the nomination, and we all voted and stuff, but her biggest activities this last year have been with Angels on Stage, which is a nonprofit for kids with special needs, and they get to be the actors and they sing and all that kind of stuff. And she's also working with the Santa Clara Swim Club Special Olympics. So those are two important things. Plus, I know she's been at VBS and Kid Connection and a bunch of other stuff too. But
just thank you. I'm honored, and that's one of the biggest joys in my life is doing volunteer work. So I encourage everyone to get out there and find something you're passionate about and volunteer.
okay. Any other questions, thoughts, concerns, things that weren't in your mind an hour ago but now are, or whatever? Yeah? Oh, here we go. The microphone journey. Here, Jamie, do you want to come up here and use this one?
I'll just try to speak a little louder. So it didn't come to me before, but I was wondering about the sprinkler issue. Are there other buildings on campus that could or should have sprinklers that might lead to a reduction in insurance costs or anything like that? Or areas where we think that we need it for safety reasons or anything like that? And I guess it's not something that we would do right now, but something that we might need to think about for the future. And if we're bringing the water on campus, maybe we need to make sure that we have enough water coming on campus to do other future things. So it just came into my mind, and I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, I've thought about that too, and Tom's got the answer.
Yeah, so the immediate answer is we're doing the ones that were required. If we end up having to sprinkle Zor Hall, there's a fire hydrant that's in the parking lot that actually we could access to that building. To get that water over to those other two buildings would be ripping up the whole property to get it. So right now we're doing the two that we're required to do. There doesn't seem to be any mandate that we would need to do the other ones. I think eventually, yes. But I don't know the answer as far as sprinkler savings, as far as insurance goes.
Yeah, this building.
This is sprinkled. So there's a fire curtain right here by the narthex. You look up, those would rain down on here if there was a fire. All the offices and all the other the rooms around here also have fire sprinklers. So this one is fully sprinkled.
Is it enough to save the building?
Well, save the cross. No, save your lives. How about that? No, this is what the fire department mandated. So we did that back in 1988 when we did this part.
Thank you.
It's done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any further questions on that topic or others? No? Okay. And as you know, there's folk around all day, every day, for some reason or another. So if something comes to mind, ask it. So thank you very much for sharing your time and your day with us and all your thoughts and making things possible. So, oh, Brett.
I move to complete the meeting.
Okay. Brett's hungry. Okay. Do we have a second for Brett? Complete the meeting? Okay. Eric says he'd like to eat too. Second for completing the meeting. All those in favor? Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think we're ready to go.